Hi guys. Good morning guys. In today's class, we're going to see about washing machine, application specific embedded system and automotive domain specific embedded system. So here in this, first we're going to see about what we mean by embedded system. We're going to recall it. Embedded system are application and domain specific. So meaning is they are specifically built for certain application in certain domains like consumer electronics, telecom, automotive industrial control, etc. So it is possible to replace a general purpose computing system with another system which is closely matching with the existing system, whereas it is not the case with the embedded systems. So embedded systems are highly specialized in functioning and are dedicated for a specific application. Hence, it is not possible to replace an embedded system developed for a specific application in a specific domain with another embedded system designed for some other application in some another domain. See, for example, an application or an embedded system which is designed for a washing machine cannot be used in a digital camera. So, which is designed exclusively for washing machine, it has to be used only in washing machine. It cannot be replaced in a digital camera or anything as such. So, here in this washing machine, so this is the functional block diagram of an washing machine. So, an embedded system contains a sensors. So, here are the sensors: temperature sensor, level sensor. So these are the sensors. Actuators. So this one will be an actuator which will be present inside this tube, control unit, and application specific user interfaces like keyboard. So this is the keyboard, display unit. So this is the display unit. One can see all these components in washing machine. Some of them are visible and some of them are maybe an invisible, as you guys know. So the actuator part of a washing machine consists of a motorized agitator. So this is an agitator. So this is an agitator which is motorized, which is an inside, which is of invisible. Here they will going to fix a machine, a motor, which will going to work when you are to pull this agitator at the upwards and downwards. So, and there is a tumble tub. This is a tumble tub, water drawing pump. So this is the inlet pipe which where the motor will be there, which will going to draw the water from here, and the outlet valve from where the water will going to go out. So the flow of water into the unit will be going to depend upon this water inlet pipe and the water outlet pipe. So the sensor part consists of water temperature sensor, level sensor, and any and extra other sensors will be there. But here we can see only these two, that is level sensor and the temperature sensor. So what about the control part? The control part consists of a microprocessor or a microcontroller based broad with interfaces to the sensors and actuators. So the sensor data is fed back to the control unit. So somewhere here it will be a control unit. So the sensor data fed back to a control unit, and the control unit generates the necessary actuator outputs. So the control unit also provides a connectivity to user interfaces like keyboard for setting washing machine. So here, these are the keyboard which is setting for in washing machine, selecting the type of material to be washed like light, medium, heavy duty, or soak, rinse, light, medium, heavy, so like that. So user feedback is reflected through the display unit and the LEDs connected to the control board. So here it will going to reflect, see in display board it will going to show us how much amount of time is remaining, and uh, what are the second, how much seconds it has been remaining, and what's the exact the performance which is going to which is doing by the washing machine. Suppose if it is of rinse, it will going to rinsing, it will going to show it as rinsing. If it is of washing, it will going to show it as a washing, and etc. as such. So here in this washing machine comes in two models. One is top loading and the front loading. So in top loading models, the agitator, so this one in top, this one is an top loading and this one will be a front loading. So in top loading model, the agitator of the machine twists back and for pulls the cloth down to the bottom. So if you put a cloth here, it will going to pull the cloths to a bottom of the tub. On reaching the bottom of the tub, the clothes work their way back up to the top. So here the cloth will going to come down and it will going to move up. It will going to come down and it will going to go up, which will be performed by this agitator. So this agitator will going to grab them again and it will going to repeat this mechanism. So in front loading machine, the cloths are tumbled and plugged into water. You're in water over and over again. This is the first phase of this washing machine. So the general principle of working of this washing machine are the basic controls consist of a timer cycle. So here there will be a timer, there will be a timer cycle selector, mechanism, water temperature selector, load size selector, and start button. So everything will be there in this basic controllers. So the mechanism includes the motor. So here under this there will be a motor, transmission, clutch pump, agitator, inner tub, outer tub, and water inlet valve. So water inlet valve will be present in this mechanism. So the input interfaces includes the keyboard, which consists of an wash type. Here it is. So which consists of an wash type. So wash, spin, rinse, cloth selector, light wash or medium wash or heavy wash. We're going to select using this input interface. So whatever the input we're going to give here, it will going to perform the operation, whatever the inputs we are going to give. So the output interfaces consist of LED. So here, LED, LCD display status, indication, etc. So the other types of input-output interfaces which are invisible to the end user are different kinds of sensor interfaces, like for example, water temperature sensor, water level sensor, and etc. So this is what the functional working of this block diagram of this washing machine. So next we're going to see the automotive domain specific embedded system. So in this automotive domain specific embedded system, hang on. So here in automotive domain specific embedded system, the major application domains of embedded system are consumer, industrial, automotive, telecom, etc. So the following figure, so this figure will going to give us an overview of various types of electronic control units employed in automotive application. So for example, there will be an engine control. So if there is any problem in this engine control, it will be represented here in instrumentation part. There will be a light blinking near the driver seat, that is under the steering. So if a fan control, if your engine is going to get heat, it will going to switch on the fan immediately by using some sensor. This all will be done using this embedded system. So for example, in your cars there will be an airbag. So suppose if there any accident happens, it will going to do, the airbag will going to open suddenly within a fraction of a second, which will going to save the people from this accident. So these kind of things which will be built using this embedded system. So the inner working of these embedded automotive systems are, automotive embedded systems are the one where electronics take control over the mechanical systems. So for example, the mirror and wiper. So if you want to adjust the mirror and if you want to control the wiper, you can done through the button which is going to present in this in near the driver, where you can control the wiper, it can control the mirrors by adjusting the button which will be present near the driver. So these things, the electronics will going to take over the mechanical system. So mirror will be a mechanical system, wiper will be a mechanical system. So these things will be taken over by this electronics. So automotive embedded systems are normally built around microcontrollers and generally known as electronic control units, ECUs. So the number of embedded controls in ordinary vehicle varies from 20 to 40, whereas a luxury vehicle like Mercedes and BMW 7 may contain over 100 embedded controllers. So yes, we have in this diagram they are given only the few embedded controllers in this car, whereas if you go to a top end cars like Mercedes and all, we're going to see around 70 to 100 embedded controllers. So the first embedded system and used in automotive application was the microprocessor based fuel injection system introduced by Volkswagen in 1968. So the various types of electronic control units used in automotive embedded industry can be broadly classified into two, that is high speed electronic control unit and low speed electronic control unit. So in this high speed electronic control unit are deployed in critical control units requiring fast responses. They include, for example, fuel injection systems and anti-brake system, that is ABS, engine control and steering controls, transmission control unit, and central control unit. So, whereas if you go to a low speed electronic control units, these are deployed in application where the response time is not so much critical. So they are generally are built around low cost microprocessor or the controllers and digital signal processors. See, for example, where it will be implemented, these LECUs are audio controllers, passenger and driver door locks, door glass controllers, that is of power windows, wiper control, mirror control, seat control system, headlamp, and tail lamp controls are some of the few examples of this LECUs. So next comes automotive communication buses. So automotive communication buses application make use of serial buses for communication, which greatly reduces the amount of wiring required inside a vehicle. So there are three different types. One is control area network, local interconnect network, media oriented system transport bus. So in that, first we're going to see about controller area network. So the controller area network bus was originally proposed by a Robert Bosch. So this CAN, that is CAN, the controller area network supports medium speed, that is around 125 kbps, and high speed will be around 1 mbps. So where you can use this in order to data transfer, where CAN, that is controller area network, is an event driven protocol interface with support for error handling in data transmission. So it is generally employed in safety system like airbag control, powertrain system like engine control, and ABS, that is anti-brake systems. So next, second one is local interconnect network. So LIN, which will be called as LIN. So LIN bus is single master multiple slave communication interface. LIN is low speed single wire communication interface with support for data rates up to 20 kbps and used for sensors and actuator interfacing. LIN buses follows the master communication triggering technique to eliminate the possible bus arbitration problem that can occur by the simultaneous talking of different slave nodes connected to a single interface bus. And the third one is MOST, that is media oriented system transport. So MOST is targeted for automotive audio video equipment interfacing, usually used primarily in European cars, not in our Indian cars. A MOST bus, that is MOST means media oriented system transport bus, is a multimedia fiber optic point-to-point network implemented in a star ring and we implemented in a star ring topologies over an optical fiber cables. So the MOST bus specification defines the physical, that is physical includes the electrical and the optical parameters. So these layers will have the application layer and the network layer and the media access control area, media access control. So thank you guys. We're going to continue in next class. If you have any doubts, you can